According to the report titled Preparing Tomorrow's Workforce for the Fourth Industrial Revolution released by Deloitte, the Fourth Industrial Revolution increases the need for essential human skills commonly referred to as soft skills that include creativity, complex problem solving, relationship building, communication, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking. In addition, youth also note the growing need for courage, resiliency, adaptability, and resourcefulness. The importance of these qualities is confirmed through education research, and in fact curricula is expanding to incorporate social and emotional learning to enhance student intrapersonal, interpersonal and cognitive competence. While the research focuses on youths between 15 and 29, it is critical to cultivate SEL in early childhood through the classroom, home and community to enhance their ability to transition more successfully to adulthood and the workplace. Recognizing our growing technological interconnectedness, the expansion of global markets, youth's mobility and migration, and the diversity of workplaces, there is a growing emphasis on global competence. The ability to apply acquired soft skills in cross-cultural, multicultural, and global contexts. A common thread across these soft skills, SEL competencies, and global competencies is that they are decidedly human traits that for now are irreplaceable by machines. So let's begin today's video. I'm a soft skill trainer from the Department of Career Planning and Development, and I welcome you to today's soft skill video session. The topic of today's video is how to answer the interview question, tell me something that's not on your resume. When you're interviewing for a new job, interviewers want to go beyond what you have shared with them on your resume. One way for an interviewer to gain this perspective is to ask you an open-ended question such as, tell me something about yourself that isn't on your resume. If you get this question, it's an opportunity to choose the most compelling information to share that is not obvious from your resume. It is often asked as you follow up to one of the most common interview questions, tell me about yourself. What the interviewer really wants to know. So your resume states the facts, but the interviewer wants to know about the person behind the work history. This will help your interviewer determine whether you are a good match for the job and the organization. Ultimately, they want to know that you are not only able to carry out the duties of the job, but that you are fit in well with the team and the corporate culture. Now, how to answer interview questions about what's not on your resume. So to begin, for the applicant, questions that dig further into your background provide an opportunity to share more about the personal qualities and attributes that would enable you to be a successful employee if you were to be hired. There are several different ways you can answer the question. Option number 1. Share a strength that isn't on your resume. So before your interview, itemize the core strengths that you want to convey during your interview. This type of question can provide an opening to emphasize an asset that is not transparent from your resume. For example, public speaking might be an important requirement in the job for which you are being considered. You may not have had the opportunity to speak in front of groups during your work history. However, you could respond that you were on the debate team in college, excelled at presentations as part of your group projects in school, gave a talk at a volunteer dinner, or won a marketing competition as an undergraduate. Perhaps you want to emphasize your commitment and willingness to go through the extra mile and creative problem-solving skills. Option number 2. Share an intangible strength. Your resume should already list the accomplishments and the skills you are used to generate these achievements. However, subjective assets like personal qualities are harder to incorporate into a resume, like your work ethic or loyalty. Option 3. Explain why you want the job. Employers are often just as concerned about your motivation for taking on a particular type of work as they are about your knowledge and skills. So this kind of question provides an opportunity to explain why the job is so appealing to you. You can emphasize why you were inspired to apply for the job. You can also explain that you are willing to invest a great deal of energy if hired. For example, if you are applying for a fundraising position with a medical research facility, you could mention that you developed a commitment to medical research because your mom or dad was a physician and had shared stories about how difficult it was for their patients with debilitating diseases. The fourth option, share something personal. Finally, you can take this opportunity to share a hobby or interest that might positively reflect upon your character or make you a memorable candidate. This approach will make the most sense if you have already been able to convey your job-specific assets and motivations sufficiently, For example, if you're applying for a job that requires a great deal of intellectual firepower, then you might share your passion for chess. Or if physical risk taking is required, you might mention your interest in rock climbing. So this is an example of a suitable answer as a sample. In my previous position as office manager, I discovered that the company was spending thousands of dollars per year on office supplies that no one used. On my own time, I went through previous orders and determined which products were used most and least often, and then negotiated a favorable contract with the vendor that covered our most used supplies at a discount. I then changed our ordering system to reduce waste. This saved the company a considerable amount of money during the first quarter alone. So now we'll discuss why this answer would work. Presumably, this accomplishment didn't make it onto the candidate's resume. It's an impressive answer. The end result saved the company money, something every employer desires, and also shows that the candidate is a self-starter, strong negotiator, and clever. So now let's discuss tips for giving the best answer. First, keep it relevant to the job. You can get personal, but don't overshare and don't stray too far from skills and traits that show how you're suitable for the role. Second, be sincere and authentic. Part of the reason interviewers ask this question is to get a sense of your personality and how you'll fit in on the job. So give them an honest answer that shows who you are. Third, share your strengths. As mentioned above, one of the best strategies for answering this question is to share either an intangible strength or one that isn't mentioned on your resume. Also, let's discuss what not to say. This question may be open-ended, but that doesn't mean any answer is a good one. Here are some things to avoid in your response. First, rambling or talking for too long. Take a second before you begin speaking to gather your thoughts. You don't want to monologue for several paragraphs in your response. Keep your response clear and organized as much as possible. Storytelling can be a valuable interview tool, but it should be seamless and speedy. Don't tell your interviewer that you are about to tell them something. Get right to the point and respect the time by being concise. Second, reciting your resume. Your interviewer has your resume and is interested in hearing something a bit different. You can give an overview of your career, but make sure it goes beyond the facts in your resume by highlighting why this path interested you, and make sure to focus on the high points. Don't dwell on the early stages of your career, which might not be relevant to the position you're seeking now. Third, oversharing. It's fine to talk about hobbies and passions, but keep in mind the interviewer is really more interested in your job performance. Stay away from overly personal responses or sharing interests or hobbies that reflect poorly on you as a candidate. Fourth, anything negative. Stay upbeat during the job interview. Avoid saying anything less than positive about former bosses, co-workers, or employers. Otherwise, hiring managers will assume that you will give them and their employer the same treatment. No one wants to hire someone who will talk about them behind their back later on. And finally, fifth, unprofessional behavior. While this question offers you the opportunity to connect more deeply, it's not an invitation to drop your guard or behave unprofessionally. Keep your language, demeanor, and stories safe for work. Before we end today's video session, let me give you the key takeaways once again. Be strategic. Highlight qualities that will boost your candidacy. Keep company culture in mind. One of the goals in your response is demonstrating that you are a good fit for the company culture. Avoid unprofessional answers. Do not overshare or ramble. Even though this question has the potential to get personal, it's still a job interview. And that brings us to the end. Thank you for watching today's video. Stay safe, stay happy, and stay blessed.